Good afternoon, students. I, Nazir Ahmed Mir, chemistry educator at Green Valley Educational Institute. Today, we're going to discuss one of the important topics in chemistry, that's Bohr's model of atom. Niels Bohr, one of the eminent scientists who has explained two important features of atomic structure, and those features are quantization of energy and quantization of angular momentum. Let's discuss one of the features, that's quantization of energy. Quantization of energy. One of the important points in Bohr's model of atom is that atom consists of nucleus, and around the nucleus electron revolves in circular. Electron revolves around the nucleus in circular, fixed, stationary and non-radiating orbits. Stationary and non-radiating orbits. Let's explain it. What does it mean? There are two important features, that electron revolves around the nucleus in circular, fixed, stationary and non-radiating orbits. These are very important points. As long as electron revolves around the nucleus in a particular orbit, its energy remains stationary. Its energy remains constant. Orbit is non-radiating. That means as long as electron revolves around the nucleus in a particular orbit, it neither loses energy nor gains energy. As long as electron revolves around the nucleus in a particular orbit, its energy remains fixed. Its energy remains constant. Orbit is non-radiating. Let's explain this. Bohr proposed that electron revolves around central nucleus in fixed energy level, loses or gains energy. Let me explain it. I have said it, that as long as electron revolves around the nucleus in a particular orbit, its energy remains constant. Why is it so? Let me explain it. बोहर से पहले साइंटिस्ट का नाम मैक्स प्लैंक। मैक्स प्लैंक proposed quantum theory of radiations. Quantum theory of radiations. As per this theory, sun produces energy in the form of radiations, and those radiations are made up of energy packets. Those energy packets are called as photons. Light has discontinuous nature. It's made up of energy packets. Those energy packets are called as photons. Body can absorb or gain energy only in terms of photons. A body can absorb 1 photon of energy, 100 photons of energy can lose 1 photon of energy, 2 photons of energy, 100 photons of energy. A body cannot gain or lose energy which will be equal to fraction of photon, because light has quantum nature. Light is made up of energy packets called as photons. So what Bohr said, as long as electron revolves around the nucleus in a particular orbit, its energy remains constant. Orbit is non-radiating. So Bohr said, let's call these orbits as energy levels. We should call these orbits as energy levels or shells. Bohr designated these orbits as K shell, air shell, starting from the one which is closest to the nucleus. Starting from one which is closest to the nucleus. Now, let me repeat it. One of the important points of Bohr's model of atom is quantization of energy. What is that? I said that कि बोहर ने जब मॉडल ऑफ एटम दिया, बोहर ने कहा कि as long as electron revolves around the nucleus in a particular orbit, its energy remains constant. Electron does not lose or gain energy as long as it's present in a particular orbit. So let's call these orbits as energy levels, because orbit number से पता चलता है इलेक्ट्रॉन की एनर्जी कितनी है. If I say electron is in first shell, it will be having fixed energy, let it be E1. When I say it is in orbit number second, it means it has energy E2. So long as it's present in a particular orbit, its energy remains constant. क्यों कहा ये? Because बोहर से पहले प्लैंक ने थ्योरी दी थी जिससे हमें पता चला कि that light या radiations have quantum nature. Energy has quantum nature. Energy is made up of photons. Now, electron loses or gains energy only when it changes from one shell to another shell. Electron gains or loses energy when it changes from one shell to another shell. Now, let's see that. Electron gains or loses energy when it changes shell. When it jumps from lower shell to higher shell, it absorbs energy, but it absorbs fixed amount of energy and changes from lower shell to jumps from lower shell to higher shell. We call this as excited state. This is called as excited state. In excited state, electron is unstable. It has a tendency to come down. But as it comes down, it loses energy. Again, it loses fixed amount of energy in the form of radiations. And so long as it is present in a particular shell, it will neither lose energy nor gain energy. It only gains or loses energy during transition, during change of shell. It gains fixed amount of energy and jumps from lower shell to higher shell. We call that as excited state. In the excited state, electron is unstable. It has a tendency to come down. As it comes down, it loses fixed amount of energy in the form of radiations. So long as it's present in a particular shell, its energy remains constant. Now, what Bohr said, that electron does not lose energy regularly, because loss of energy cannot take place in fractions. Why it cannot take place in fractions? Because energy is made up of photons. Electron can lose or gain energy only in terms of photons. Continuous loss नहीं हो सकता, because that means loss of energy in fractions. That cannot happen. So, electron does not continuously lose energy. It only loses or gains energy only during change of shell. So, electron does not flow between shells. It does not flow between shells. It only jumps between shells. It only jumps between shells. I can say there is sudden gain or loss of energy, not continuous gain or loss of energy. Let me explain it further. I said that Bohr's model of atom का जो important point है, Bohr's model of atom, दो important points बोहर ने कहे. One is quantization of energy. Then second one is quantization of angular momentum. Quantization of angular momentum. गौर से सुनना. Quantization of energy. Second one is quantization of angular momentum. ये जो quantization of angular momentum है, let me explain it. Bohr says electron revolves around the nucleus only in certain selected orbits. Selected orbits. Electron revolves around the nucleus only in certain permitted orbits, only in certain selected orbits. And what are these selected orbits? What is the criterion of that selection? Bohr said, electron revolves only in those orbits in which angular momentum of electron, in which angular momentum of electron, angular momentum of electron, that is mvr, is equal to nh by 2 pi, in which mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi. मैं रिपीट करता हूं. बोहर ने कहा इलेक्ट्रॉन revolves around the nucleus only in certain selected orbits, permitted orbits. What are those permitted orbits? Permitted orbits are those in which angular momentum of electron, that is mvr, where m is mass of electron, v is velocity with which it revolves, r is radius of the track. Since orbit is circular, therefore momentum is angular momentum. So Bohr said electron revolves around the nucleus only in certain selected orbits. And what are those selected orbits? The selected orbits are those in which angular momentum of electron, that is nvr, is equal to nh by 2 pi. Now, ये जो बोहर ने कहा that angular momentum of electron is nh by 2 pi, this was a guess on the part of Bohr. ये बोहर ने guess किया था, because there was no justification given that why nvr should be equal to nh by 2 pi. N here represents number of shell. H is Planck's constant. 2 pi is mathematical constant. Now you see that. ये जो point कहा बोहर ने कि electron revolves around the nucleus only in certain selected orbits. And what are those selected orbits? The selected orbits are those in which angular momentum of electron is equal to nh by 2 pi. On the part of Bohr, it was a guess because Bohr had concentrated upon particle nature of electron. जब बोहर ने मॉडल ऑफ एटम दिया, he had concentrated upon particle nature of electron only. He was unaware of wave nature of electron. लेकिन ये जो angular momentum quantization है, this angular momentum quantization, it can be justified only on the basis of wave nature of electron. Let me explain that. ध्यान से सुनो. Look here. Bohr said इलेक्ट्रॉन उन ऑर्बिट्स में रिवॉल्व करेगा जिनमें इसका एंगुलर मोमेंटम nh/2π होगा. लेकिन ये जो mvr should be equal to nh/2π, it can be justified only on wave nature of electron. बोहर ने जब मॉडल ऑफ एटम दिया था, he had concentrated upon particle nature of electron only. He was unaware of wave nature of electron. ये लेकिन हम जस्टिफाई कर सकते हैं ऑन वेव नेचर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन. नाउ लुक हियर. साइंटिस्ट का नाम डी ब्रॉय. डी ब्रॉय हैड सजेस्टेड दैट मैटर हैज ड्यूअल नेचर. इक्वेशन दिया था डी ब्रॉय ने, लैम्डा इज इक्वल टू h/mv. यानी एनीथिंग हैविंग मोमेंटम हैज वेवलेंथ. Anything having momentum has wavelength. Now you know that wavelength is the property of waves. Well, is momentum is the property of particles. So anything having particle nature has wave nature. ये डी ब्रोगली ने इक्वेशन दिया था, डी ब्रोगलीज इक्वेशन. क्या कि जिस चीज का मोमेंटम होगा उसका वेवलेंथ भी होगा. नाउ electron revolving around the nucleus has momentum. As per this equation, since electron has momentum, therefore it will be having wavelength. That means electron has both characteristics, particle nature as well as wave nature. अब सुनो, जब ये confirm हुआ that electron has wave nature, उसके बाद scientists said if electron has a wave nature, गौर से सुनना, if electron has a wave nature, then radius of the orbit, I mean to say, radius of the orbit should be such, that circumference of the orbit should be equal to n lambda. Radius of the orbit should be such that circumference of the orbit should be equal to n lambda. अगर इलेक्ट्रॉन का वेव नेचर है तो circumference बराबर होनी चाहिए n lambda. Now you know that orbit is circular as per Bohr's model of atom. अगर ऑर्बिट सर्कुलर है तो सर्कमफ्रेंस ऑफ द ऑर्बिट इज 2πr. तो 2πr शुड बी इक्वल टू n लैम्डा. लेकिन यहां से डी ब्रोगली कहता है लैम्डा इज इक्वल टू h/mv. सो 2πr शुड बी इक्वल टू n इंटू लैम्डा के बदले लिखेंगे h/mv. क्रॉस मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे 2πr mv इज इक्वल टू nh, which means mvr should be equal to nh/2π. That is what Bohr has suggested. बोहर ने तो यही कहा था that orbit वो होगा जिसमें angular momentum of electron nh/2π होगा. So there are two important features of Bohr's model of atom. One is quantization of energy, which is explained here. कि आपने पढ़ा कि that दो पॉइंट्स हैं बोर्स मॉडल ऑफ एटम के. पहला है क्वांटाइजेशन ऑफ एनर्जी. व्हाट इज क्वांटाइजेशन ऑफ एनर्जी? लेट मी रिकैपिचुलेट. पहला नंबर 1, लेट मी रिकैप इट. पहला, that electron revolves around the nucleus in circular, fixed, stationary and non-radiating orbits. Second point, as long as electron revolves around the nucleus in a particular orbit, its energy remains constant. Orbit is non-radiating. Third point, electron gains or loses energy only during change of shell. It absorbs fixed amount of energy and jumps from lower shell to higher shell, called as excited state. As it comes down, it loses fixed amount of energy. Energy cannot be lost in fractions because energy has quantum nature. Energy is made up of photons. As electron revolves around nucleus, continuous loss of energy नहीं हो सकता, because continuous loss of energy means loss of energy in fractions. That cannot happen. So क्या पहला शेल जो है, फर्स्ट शेल और न्यूक्लियस के दरमियान क्या इतनी एनर्जी गैप है कि इलेक्ट्रॉन कैन जंप ऑन द न्यूक्लियस? वी से नो, बिकॉज फर्स्ट शेल और न्यूक्लियस के दरमियान जो एनर्जी गैप है, इट्स नॉट quantized, it's not equal to photon, therefore electron never falls on the nucleus. That explains the seatability of atom. So recap once again, there are 2 points in Bohr's model of atom. Number 1, quantization of energy. What's quantization of energy? That as long as electron revolves around the nucleus in a particular orbit, its energy remains constant. Electron gains or loses energy only during change of shell. Because energy is quantized, energy cannot be lost in fractions. So as electron revolves around the nucleus, it cannot lose energy in fractions. It will gain or lose energy only in fixed amounts. That is, it will gain or lose energy only during change of shell. So electron does not flow between shells. It only jumps between shells. That's called is quantization of energy. Then second point which I discussed, quantization of angular momentum. And in quantization of angular momentum, I said that electron revolves around the nucleus only in certain selected orbits. And what are those selected orbits? The selected orbits are those in which angular momentum of electron is equal to LH by 2 pi. MVR is equal to LH by 2 pi. Now, what is M? This is mass of electron. V is velocity of electron. R is radius of the orbit. Electron revolves in those orbits in which MVR is equal to NH by 2 pi. But I said this point was a guess on the part of Bohr. He could not justify it. कहा तो था मगर justification नहीं दे सकता था, because this can be proved only on the basis of wave nature of electron, जिसका भी मैंने आपको justification दिया. So this is Bohr's model of atom, where I have explained that it has 2 important features. And पहला जो है quantization of energy, that's explained on Max Planck's quantum theory of light. E is equal to h nu. So इस यानी that represents photon. इस पर आपने quantization of energy explain किया, and इस पर आप explain करते हो quantization of angular momentum. Thank you very much.